Eric Devendorf, you saw him on your television on Saturday, doing a great job on ACC Network. I'll just have the people know, Devo, like the first game you called, I was your partner on it, so I take full credit for your sent up the broadcast ranks here. I claim all credit for launching your color career here.
I appreciate your support, man. It's been fun. It's been a good time. Just getting more reps, getting more comfortable, and I get the best seat in the house, and I get to talk about basketball, so no complaints.
All right, we got two things to talk about here. So we'll talk about the team and the actual basketball. I'd say what was very noted about you on Saturday is you coming out in defensive red. Obviously, you see the program from a different side and a different light from others. What is your general view here of how Red's doing now, and where it can go from here for him?
So my whole thing was it just need to be patient. First of all, they're not going to fire him because they're going to have to pay him, and then they're going to have to pay another coach, and that's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not going to be able to do that, and I think they have to be more patient. He won 20 games in his first year. I know the expectations, even with 20 wins, are higher, right? We understand that, but it's 20 wins nonetheless. He's just getting his feet wet. He's just trying to put his system into place and get his guys in there, and obviously this year it hasn't gone well at all. All right, has he done the best job of all time? No, but has he done a horrendous job? I don't think a horrendous job. I think the players play the game. I think he's trying to figure out rotation. He's trying to figure out who plays well together, what guys are going to play hard, and I mean, plain and simple. I'm watching these guys play, and not every one of these guys are playing hard. For me, you see a guy like Kyle Cuff. I think he's a guy who really goes out there and competes and plays really hard. I can't say that about every single guy on the team, and that's not Red going out there and playing. Is it his job to motivate him and to get him to play hard? Yes, but at the same time, the guys have to do it. So I think he's searching for different ways to figure out how to do that, how to motivate him. What pieces can he put together? And, I mean, let's be real. It doesn't help you when your best player gets hurt and he's out 7 games. Mm-hmm. Go back, look at a lot of these games that they've played, made free throws versus Texas, made three-point shot, a rebound here, not a turnover there, whatever it is. They win a lot of these games, besides Maryland and, Tennessee, a lot of these games were winnable. Even last game, Florida State, until the second half with maybe 10 minutes left, Florida State starts pulling away. But, I mean, they're in these games, and it's not like they have the greatest players in the conference, and I'm not trying to downplay the guys, but, he's doing the best with what he has, and that's really what I was trying to say. And when I said that the people on social media have no clue, I mean, they don't. I mean, just behind the scenes, they want me to give it. Some stuff isn't for the public. Let's just be honest. It's a lot more that goes into coaching college basketball now than ever. With the NIL landscape and everything else going on, the transfer portal, it's super hard to navigate. And it being only his second year. Man, you got to give him a little bit of time. Now, if he goes into his 4th year and it's the same thing, okay, then you definitely have the conversation. But I just think as of now, you have to be able to try to ride it out and figure out what you could do.
Well said, Dave. And I kind of like the whole thing. Like, I get now if they literally lose every game the rest of the season, which I don't think, do you have to have some kind of conversation? I suppose so, but like you hired the guy, you got to give him a minute to see what it's going to be out there. How frustrating is this for you, the Syracuse alum part of it? You speak of playing hard. You were never accused of not playing hard during your time here, Devo. For a guy that laid it out there like you did, if you watch it and you don't see that, how does that hit you?
I mean, it is frustrating. I think whenever whenever you get a chance to play at this level, let alone any Division I team, but let alone Syracuse University, the history that Syracuse has, whenever you get to put that jersey on, I'm giving everything I got when I get on that floor. I mean, you're just blessed to be able to put on that jersey, to play in the ACC conference. I don't know if these guys really know the history of Syracuse or the conference in general, but I mean, the guys that came through these ranks, it's unbelievable. I mean, just for Syracuse, talk about Melo, but then you go into the Dukes and North Carolinas. You're going into these arenas and you're able to play on the same court that these guys have played on. So if you're not giving maximum effort, regardless, make, miss, turnover, whatever it is, I'm busting my butt getting back and playing, and I'm having energy and effort with every single possession. Like, that's what this game is. That's the separator. You could have a guy who's super skilled, but if he's not given the effort and the energy, the guy who is going to surpass him. And having coached and knowing how it is on the other side, I want that guy. I want the guy who's giving me maximum effort rather than the guy who's super skilled, right? Obviously, you have to have some skill, but we can develop that. You really can't develop the effort and the energy. And when you get to this level, you shouldn't have to coach that. Red shouldn't have to coach guys playing hard. He shouldn't have to tell you that. This opportunity that you have, and now that you're making this type of money, just think about you're making money now, but now if you're really putting in work on the court, now you're making even more money. And it doesn't have to be at Syracuse. If you do really well somewhere, now you're going to give yourself the chance and opportunity to make even more money, whether it's at the same school or somebody else who comes in and they want to have you be a part of their program. So for me, it's mind-boggling to why you wouldn't give the type of effort. Like, you go back to when we were playing, I just loved to play. You didn't have to give me anything. You didn't have to give these guys anything. They just love to play basketball and they love to compete. And I think it's not just these guys, right? And it's not all the guys. I don't want to, say it's everyone, but it's just college basketball in general. From the games that I've watched and the games that I've done, and the coaches that I've talked to a lot of coaches. The love of the game is not there anymore. It's what comes with the game. They love the attention. Obviously they love the money. And they love everything that comes with it, but they don't love the game of basketball. And you could see it on the court. You could see it. If you really love the game, you could tell. You could tell with your play and with your effort. And I think just college basketball in general, that's kind of what I see as a product. And, again, it's not every single player, but it's a lot of them.
I look at Kyle Cuff, and he was one of the names you brought up earlier, that he clearly gives a crap, right? For lack of a better term. He's out there like that. And I don't see any reason other than that. He's playing fine now, but it feels like almost that is the only reason he's earned these minutes. And you can kind of understand how that's happened here, right, in the last couple of weeks.
I want guys who are going to compete at a high level. I don't care if you're the best shooter, you're the best ball handler, you're the best scorer, whatever it is. Yes, we need those, but if you're not playing hard, none of that matters.
Yeah.
You're not going to give yourself a chance, and you're not going to give your team a chance if you're not playing as hard as you can. Whether that's 2 minutes or 20 minutes, you got to give me everything you got. It has to mean something to you. And if it doesn't mean something to you, then you probably shouldn't be playing. And I think it's tough for Red, too, because it's not like you have a lot of guys that you could go to, So if one guy is not playing hard, you're either going to sit him down and then, struggle, or you're going to play him and struggle and struggle. So it's like a lose-lose because, if you're not playing hard, you're not giving maximum effort. I mean, there's only so much that he could do as a coach. He's trying to put you in position to excel and to play well, but you have to give the effort, man. You have to give it. And I could see sometimes and I'm not going to speak for Red, but I just think you can get so frustrated as a coach that when a guy's not giving you the effort or he's not paying attention to what you're trying to tell him, whether it be from a defensive standpoint or an offensive standpoint, that you just sit him. And then you're just gonna deal with whatever it is. Whoever's playing out there, you're just gonna deal with that. But it comes to a point when you just get exhausted that, the kid's not giving the effort, regardless of the skill level. If he's not giving the effort, it's not going to work out because somebody's going to end up giving the effort, whether it's on your team or the other team. And usually it's going to be the other team. And usually when that happens, you're going to be in a situation that you're in now losing games.
Yeah, Devo with us. We're looking back. He was down in Tallahassee for the game. I know most of you watched him on ACC Network on Saturday evening. And, I look at that game. It's not just that game, but it certainly was the second half of that game, right? Like it was a turnstile on defense. You give up 54 points and a half, you're not going to win a game when you do it. And it's certainly not the only time that's happened this season. Is that the effort, Eric, or is there something else there on the defense that's just missing, rim protector or something else?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Effort is like a huge part of it, right? Like shots are going to be made, guys are going to make shots, you're going to miss rebounds, you're going to give up rebounds, whatever it is, but the effort has to be there. Like when that happens, you can't stop. You can't stop playing. Yeah, I mean, the first half, I thought they played really good defensively. Yeah. It was whether they were down 2 at half or something like 34, 36 or something like that. And then the second half, it was totally different. And then you see them play in zone, and guys, are just getting to the middle of the zone, getting behind the zone. That's just them not being active, not communicating, not talking. That's something that you should have been, taught at in elementary school. Communicating and giving effort. You don't want to have to teach that at this level as a coach, because if you do that, then you're so far behind the ball if having to teach that. In conference play, you're supposed to be talking about the scouting report and the other teams, right? Now you have to teach effort and energy along with that. Like that puts you behind schedule. We're in the conference play right now. It should be about locking in on this team. We shouldn't have to worry about giving effort and energy. But when they do, they're pretty good defensively. You saw it in the first half, and it doesn't matter what Florida State's record is. They're 10-4, 1-2 in the ACC. I mean, they got 7-footers 1 through 5. It seems like So when you're playing against a team like that, a team coached by Leonard Hamilton, who's a Hall of Famer, I mean, they're going to be able to compete. They got Jameer Watkins, who's an NBA prospect, and you see Bull Bolin, a guy who is coming into his own, and the length and athleticism that they got. They're a disruptive team when they're active and they're moving around. Like defensively, that's tough to play against in the half court. And Syracuse was there. They were there for most of the game, but when the energy went down, that's when you really started to see Florida State pull away. And all it is like a turnover here, a turnover there, and then the energy goes from 10 to 2. And then when it's like that, that's when you start. A lead goes from 4 to 10 to 15, and that's when you lose control of the game.
Yeah, we've seen that happen far too often this season for sure. Not just on Saturday. That was not a unique experience, unfortunately. You mentioned Leonard Hamilton, Devo. Speaking of things that only happened in 2025, what do you make of 6 former FSU players suing Leonard over the lack of NIL funds or whatever was going on with that?
Yeah, the NIL, it's the wild, wild west, man. It's really getting ridiculous, just to be honest. Like, I'm all for guys getting paid, but when stuff like this is happening, it's just ridiculous. And, I didn't really mention it to Coach Hamilton because he doesn't want to talk about it. Obviously, that's the only questions he's been getting. And then they told me going in, like, hey, if you talk to him, it's not going to be a good conversation. So I kind of left it alone, but from what I know about is that's just hearsay. Like those guys didn't have any contract signs, and the money that they did get, they got, like they signed for it and they got it, and the money that they're saying that they didn't, there was no paper trail, no contract. So, I mean, what do you expect? Yeah, and I don't know if they were promised that money or not, but if you're just going by word of mouth, then you're putting yourself in a bad position. You should have had a lawyer. You should have had a contract. All those things should have been done beforehand, and you wouldn't even be in this position. Now you're upset, at the coach because he might have told you this and, you didn't get it. And this is the result of it.
Yeah, it's until these things get a little more organized, it's just a mess. Coaches being put in weird spots, players that don't know anything about contracts being put in weird spots, agents that are, who knows what they're doing. The whole thing's a mess. So hopefully it gets sorted a little bit, just so everyone can get what they should be getting, which is, getting their money out of all this stuff. All right, Devo, this week, Georgia Tech tomorrow, Boston College on Saturday. I'm looking at, and I hate that we're having this conversation, but legit, Syracuse got to win some games now, or they might miss the ACC tournament. How important suddenly is week 2 of January right now?
Well, they got Georgia Tech, Boston College, and they come back 2 home games, Louisville and Notre Dame.
Right.
And really all winnable games, just to be honest. I mean, the ACC isn't particularly strong, I guess. But Georgia Tech, they coming off a big win against Boston College, but it's a winnable game. They got some athletes, they got some scorers, but being at home, Syracuse has a good chance. And then they go on the road against Boston College. Boston College isn't great either. I've done a couple of their games. I'm actually going with the team and doing the radio with Matt Park this weekend. But I mean, they have a couple scorers, but nothing crazy that Syracuse can't handle. And then coming back, Louisville and Notre Dame, they should have beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. Without JJ, I know Notre Dame didn't have Burton, and he's back, so that'll definitely be a difference. But and then Louisville's, I mean, I think they're playing good. I think Pat Kelsey is an unbelievable coach, man. I mean, they lost like two of their top players, Pryor and then Johnson, two of their supposedly they're supposed to be two of the top scorers on the team, and he still has that team rolling with Chucky Hepburn and Terrence Edwards. Those guys are playing good. He just gets them to play super hard, and again, those guys are locked in. Like, he has some veteran guys who knows what it takes, and they're playing hard for him. But none of these games are games you go into and be like, no, we can't win it. I mean, Syracuse, they could go in there and it could be 4-0, or they could go in there and be 0-4. It just depends on the effort and energy that they put into it, and if they're going to be locked in on both sides of the ball. So, but they need to win. They can't go 1-4, I'd say that, because like you said, now they put themselves in position to missing the ACC tournament, and you think it's rough now. If that happens, it'll be on a whole nother level. So they definitely have some work to do.
Yeah, I can't imagine it, and yet we need to start to imagine it, unfortunately, at this point. All right, Diva, so we got you on the radio Saturday. That's great. What's your next TV game? What game you got next?
So I have both home games at Cuse. So I'm doing Louisville Tuesday, and then I got Notre Dame Saturday, and then I go back on the road. I do Georgia Tech at Notre Dame, and then I have Florida State at Boston College. So this month it's pretty busy, man. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, good stuff, man. Best of success. Great to see you out there so much. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Thanks, Diva.
Thank you. Appreciate you.